The DOJ is now appealing after a federal judge temporarily blocked White House officials from meeting with big tech companies and accusing Biden of likely violating the First Amendment. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey has been leading the legal fight against the White House. He joins me now with Fox News medical contributor Dr. Marty Makary, who's had some of his COVID posts censored on social media. Guys, thanks for getting up early with us this morning. We appreciate it. And before I get to the AG, Dr. Makary, I'm going to go to you first. Since you were censored during COVID, do you feel like your First Amendment rights were not only attacked in this, but it had to have been insulting as a doctor to be censored on top of that?
Well, even worse, LinkedIn censored our JAMA study. JAMA is our top medical journal on natural immunity. And if you look at everything that's happened, it's in line with Fauci and email and Collins, the NIH director's email exchange that they wanted a swift and devastating takedown of views different from their own. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
And then AG.
Yeah, that's wild. Wild. Actual medical doctors were censored, which, you know, obviously hindsight is always 2020. And now we know, and now we're paying a lot closer attention to everything that's going on. But when you're censoring actual medical doctors because these fact checkers say that they're wrong, that's a major red flag. So a fact checker knows more than an actual medical doctor, and any medical doctor that is, you know, disagreeing, they're all of a sudden they're horrible, terrible, and they're no good, very bad people. Well, I thought science was about debate. There was, you know, some type of discussion to be had when it comes to science. It's not just everybody is in agreement, right? That's what I thought. But then when all that went down, it was like, oh, no, we all have to agree. And if you don't, you're a crazy lunatic and your license will be revoked and you'll be censored. And it's just like, hold on, wait, whoa. Red flag. Flag on the play. So I don't think they will be able to do that anymore. They tried it once and got away with it. I don't think it could happen again. And I'm happy to see, you know, a lawsuit like this being brought about. Being brought to the forefront, I should say, because it's important for free speech, if nothing else, right? Because our First Amendment, in my humble opinion, has been violated. It's being violated every single day. There's certain things that I still can't say, which I made no secret about. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows, right? That's no secret. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Obviously, I think you guys expected this appeal to come on the heels of this, but I want to know what the likelihood that this order is going to be permanent and how it would be enforced.
Well, because this is about defending the Constitution and because the judges found that we're likely to succeed on the merits of establishing that the Biden White House, the Department of Justice, and other federal agencies violated the First Amendment, we feel very confident in our legal position. We're going to keep fighting to protect the Constitution. As the doctor pointed out, so much of the speech that was suppressed actually turned out to be true. So it's protected speech. It was truthful speech, and the government had no business suppressing it.
It doesn't even matter whether or not it was truthful or not. That has nothing to do with it. You still have freedom of speech. I could say the sky is falling. That's obviously not true, but I should be able to say it. Now, call me an idiot for saying it. You know what I mean? Whatever, right? Lunatic, whatever, but I still should have the right to say it. It being truthful has nothing to do with the equation, and I don't like the fact that that's starting to creep into the discussion on free speech, whether or not it's true. Who determines whether or not something is true? And how do we pick those individuals or that individual? And how do they know that it's true? You see what I mean? Like you get into like a really gray area there. Who's to say that something is true or not? Because the last time that I checked, some of the stuff that they were telling us was true turned out not to be true. And the people that they were censoring, that they said were lying and making things up, actually turned out to be true. So am I still supposed to believe the fact checkers and the people that, you know, want our best interests? Or am I supposed to believe the so-called lunatics and crazies and conspiracy theorists? Just saying.
I mean, regardless if there is a Democrat or Republican in the White House, really, do they have any way, shape, or form to be communicating with big tech about things like this? Is that any place for them?
Well, I think we need to erect a wall of separation between tech and state to protect Americans' First Amendment rights from President Biden and his army of federal bureaucrats who seek to undermine free speech in the United States of America. And that wall began being erected on July 4th when the judge laid the first brick by issuing this preliminary injunction. We're now going to get to the merits of the case, continue doing discovery, receive more documents, conduct more depositions, and root out this vast censorship enterprise that President Biden has constructed that's a relationship of both coercion and collusion with big tech social media.
You know, Dr. McCary, we talk about the censorship. You know, how far really did health officials go? Was it all around with the vaccine, and not only that, but kids going back to school? I mean, what was it exactly that you think was hit the hardest with this censoring?
Look, Fauci and the White House and the CDC tried to squash all discussion of natural immunity of those who called for schools to be open and those of us who questioned a repeat booster strategy in young, healthy people. And we learned just this week that a top Fauci advisor at the NIH, who's a government employee, was basically his hatchet man, aggressively criticizing the media whenever they talked about, for example, the Wuhan lab leak. And there's direct quotes from him saying, let's move this conversation to Gmail. Fauci does not want his fingerprints on this, as he worked to sort of commission propaganda pieces and criticize journalists. The irony is that it ended up being clearly from a lab, and it's not the government's job to be a publicist
Allegedly.
for the government. It's the job of the government to do their job.
Right, and let's not forget that a lot of these findings, it was predominantly against conservative speech. I think that's no shock there. But A.G. Bailey, with the 2024 election right around the corner, are you really hoping that this just prevents this from happening again with really anything else, not just something like COVID, but anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. This has never been about truth. It's always been about power for the White House. We know it emanates from the very top levels of the White House. We know that from discovery we've received where communications specialists at the digital office of the White House have said that it's coming from the very top levels. And so what we've got to do is continue to erect that wall of separation between tech and state. At the recent hearing on May 26th, the Department of Justice refused to commit to acknowledging that it would be a violation of the First Amendment to suppress an American citizen's right to question election integrity. We can't even debate it on social media without Biden interfering. And the remedy for disfavored speech in this country has always been counter speech, not government censorship. The whole point of the First Amendment is to invite dissent and discussion so we can come to consensus by free, fair, and open debate uninhibited from government interference.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of people, millions of people are glad someone is starting to stand up and actually make some waves with this administration and trying to put a stop to this. So kudos to you for that. Dr. McCary, as always, thank you for your time this morning. A.G. Bailey.
Yes, sir. And ma'am, of course. You know, definitely happy to see something like that. To see the Biden administration called out for their alleged collusion with big tech. I think it has gone way too far, and I don't think there should be any censorship allowed, period, on social media, period. Nothing should be censored, in my humble opinion. It's called freedom of speech. Now I understand that these companies are businesses, private businesses in some cases, but I don't know. I just lean on the side of freedom of speech, on the side of the Constitution. I forgot the law that allows for big tech to not be liable for something that somebody says on their platform. I forgot what law that actually is, or what bill. Man, because there was a discussion about it last year, I believe. Was it something big? Didn't something big happen with that last year or something? Some big discussion or some case where that came about? Like somebody tried to sue big tech because of something that happened with their kid or something. I don't remember. I want to say that was the situation, but I believe big tech is protected from being liable. You know, for example, if I hopped on here and I told people, you know, to do something crazy, you know, harm themselves in some type of way, YouTube can't be blamed for something that I said, right? Even though it's their company, it's their platform, they aren't liable for something that I say. Now, in my humble opinion, if you aren't liable for something that people say, why are you censoring folks anyway? In my opinion, it should be, if you censor folks, you're going to be liable for what people say. I mean, what do y'all agree? If you're going to censor folks on your platform, you're liable for anything and everything that they say. So if they say something crazy and something bad happens, you are now liable for it. But if you don't censor, you're not liable for it. Your hands are off, okay? That's the way that I see it in my humble opinion, but y'all can let me know how you feel in the comment section. I think this is great for America. I think this is great for freedom of speech, obviously. I would love to see more of it. Hopefully they win their case. I believe in this situation, or in this case, the judge, you know, told the White House they can no longer have any kind of communication with big tech while this case is going on. So that's great. That's a step in the right direction. It's a small step, but it's a step. It's one brick, like he was talking about, in a giant wall, but it's a brick, okay? It's getting started. So I can't complain too much. We're moving in the right direction. I just hope that we continue to move in the right direction, and hopefully, you know, by the end of this case, the censorship on social media will be done. And maybe, has the Supreme Court ever ruled on big tech censorship? I feel like they probably have, and I'm just not aware of it. If anybody knows, let me know in the comment section, because maybe this is something for the Supreme Court to take up. SCOTUS, you know? I got a feeling I know how they're going to rule. So maybe it's time to put it on their desk. But maybe they already have, and there's some technicality in it that I'm not aware of, you know, and it's the way that it is because of the way that they ruled already. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comment section below. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.